Hello everyone, and welcome to the Commexis Cast Daily, all the news you need to know from our inbox to yours. I'm McGrorty, the videographer and podcaster here at Commexis, and today I'm joined by the lead strategist at Commexis, Phillip Brooks.
Good morning.
So our first story for today, and our only story for today, the New York Times on Saturday posted two reports, one of which was that the New York Attorney General is going to investigate a firm that sells fake followers, and the New York Attorney General is Eric T. Schneiderman. He opened an investigation into a company that sold millions of fake followers on social media platforms, some of them copying users' real personal information. And that company is Devumi. So the other piece that the New York Times posted on Saturday followed basically some of the financial records of Devumi and went really in depth on some of the people who bought fake followers from this company, as well as how the company started and formed. And it was a really, really great piece. I suggest you check it out. I'm going to link it in the description of the blog post because it is really fantastic.
It's fascinating. Yeah, it really is.
There are some graphs in there that follow a couple of the Twitter accounts, and they show the slow growth, and then you can just see straight lines of where they bought followers and stuff like that. So it was really, really interesting look at it. But Eric T. Schneiderman is going to be sort of investigating this company. Just so you guys know from this, the company Devumi and its sale of automated followers to a swath of celebrities, sports stars, journalists, and politicians was detailed in the New York Times. At least 55,000 of its bot accounts used names, pictures, hometowns, and other details taken from people on Twitter. The real users hailed from every U.S. state, including New York, and dozens of countries, a Times analysis found. Mr. Schneiderman wrote on Twitter, "Impersonation and deception are illegal under New York law, and we're opening an investigation into Devumi and its apparent sale of bots using stolen identities." One of the reasons that this is important is Devumi listed a Manhattan address, falsely listed a Manhattan address in the creation of the business. So that's probably one of the other reasons why this is being looked into, other than the obvious fraud, et cetera, et cetera. So what do we think about this, Phil?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of pieces here to think about. First of all, the jurisdictional issue. When they're open, because they're claiming to be a New York company, even though they're actually not. Yeah. That obviously opens them up to some sort of retribution from New York, which is why Schneiderman's doing what he's doing. But I think from an overall perspective, it really just takes something that we've talked a lot about, kind of ad nauseum, which is the influencer movement in social media. It really kind of puts in perspective how tenuous that really is, because when you think about it, you're basing a lot of your decisions on whether or not to invest in a social media influencer on their size of their followers, and here's rock solid proof that many of the celebrities or people that we would consider to be ideal influencers may very well be using fake bots and things like that to boost their subscriber numbers, and therefore make themselves look like more attractive as influencers to begin with.
Yeah, there's a statistic that was posted in the other article that is not in this piece, but I think it was, if you have about 100,000 Twitter followers, you can get about $2,000 in deals and promotional deals. But if you have 1 million, you can get 20,000. And one of the things that a lot of people mentioned, some of whom, many of the celebrities and other people refused to comment, but a couple of them mentioned that you spend maybe a penny per follower from this company or similar companies, and you make so much more in comparison that the cost is automatically paid for you.
I think just to boost that up, but it's a lot of the things that I thought was really interesting. I mean, just the implications of what you can do with that many bots to turn towards one way or the other. You can really influence the direction of what's being talked about on Twitter, the topics, things like that. Like, you could, with that kind of, you could basically boost a hashtag to get it right into the Twitter, right into the Twitter feed, and make sure that people are seeing it, even if it's not that. It takes that story and really just turns it towards whatever your will wants it to be. So that's a huge amount of influence to wield. And I think that as traditional ad agencies are being kind of compared to the new media and social media in general as a replacement for what we would term traditional advertising, this really is kind of a a feather in their cap to say, look, yeah, this is something that we've been saying all along, that we don't understand the actual value of an influencer and what they're able to provide, because we can't even get hard numbers as to how many people they're actually gaining impressions on.
Yeah, that's really true. One of the things that gets brought up in the article, and one of the things that people have been talking about a lot recently anyway, is a lot of these accounts do violate, to some extent, Twitter's rules, and yet Twitter still allows some of them, not all, but some of them, to remain active. And some people would accuse Twitter of actually, gaining monetary value from keeping these bots around.
Yeah, and when you think about it, you've got, it behooves Twitter to maintain these large follower counts for their chief influencers, simply because otherwise they're going to go to other platforms. They're going to go to Instagram, they're going to go to YouTube, and they're going to ignore Twitter if they're not able to get these greatly inflated follower numbers to make their values jump up commensurate with what they think their value should be. So, if I'm Twitter, you're kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face, even though we know that a lot of the problems with Twitter come really down to moderation and people actually making sure that who they're talking to is who you're supposed to be talking to, and just the content in general. So Twitter's got a big problem with policing their own content and their own membership.
Absolutely. One small thing, you mentioned being able to boost a hashtag. One of the things that is mentioned very briefly in the article is supposedly Clay Aiken had, I guess, a problem with Volvo at one point, and he tweeted at them, and the records show that he bought bots to retweet that Volvo tweet, and I say reportedly, but it was an interesting aspect of that piece.
I mean, I would. Here's the thing: Clay Aiken's probably a big enough celebrity. I mean, he did run for Congress and all, that he doesn't probably have intricate knowledge of the day-to-day operations of his social media account, I would guess. So if he has a social media manager, that they may very well fall squarely on that person, allegedly. But keep in mind too that we've seen obviously lots of connections between politics and things like that with bots, and you get into an argument on Twitter in 10 seconds, everybody's accusing another person of being a bot anyway. So people are aware of this. I just don't think they understand exactly how these bots are utilized to not only influence what content they're seeing, but also to make somebody else seem more inflated in their value as an influencer than they possibly are.
It's true. Well, that's all we have for today's Commexis Cast Daily. Check us out tomorrow for more of the latest trending news. Have a great day.
Have a great afternoon.